Thriving in harmony with nature is very, very important for every one of us because of only one reason, that we are nature. We are part of nature. The foundation for any civilization, okay, it comes under two important aspects. One is the stable climate. Second one is the rich diversity of life. For the first one, we can't work individually. It's a big community effort. The second one, it is possible if every individual think about it. There was an interesting study in 2009 by well-known researchers. There were around 28 researchers across the world. They did a study to quantify the boundaries, okay, the earth boundaries, and what we are doing to that boundaries, okay. So they try to quantify them into 9 boundaries. It was 7 in 2009, and in 2023 it was about 9 boundaries. Unfortunately, we have crossed 6 out of 9 boundaries. What does this mean? See, when we say your BP is high, or when we say your immune system is low, which means you are prone to get infected. Similarly, our earth system, these boundaries are the indicators of a healthy planet. If we try crossing these boundaries, which goes beyond a limit, which means our earth system will become fragile, okay, and there may be a calamity. You can ask me, if you cross these boundaries, will our earth get destructed or humans get extinct? I don't have an answer for that, but there is a high chance for it. The challenge is, if you complicate a problem, you want a complicated solution. For a complicated problem, you want a complicated solution. But for a complex problem, you want a simple solution. I think you can get me what I'm trying to say. If you really complicate a problem, then the solution should be a complicated solution. But we know this problem is quite complex. It's not with one particular system. There is a land system, there is a water system, there is a space system. It's a complex system. But for the complex system, you can find a simple solution. The simple solution is from these people. You can solve all the world's problem in a garden, said by my teacher, Jeff Lawton. And his teacher, Bill Mollison, he said, though the problems of the world are increasingly complex, the solution remains embarrassingly simple. So this talk is going to be about the solution and not about the problem. Here comes the word permaculture. Permaculture is not new, actually. Okay, maybe it's tagged something very appealing, but this is a shared wisdom of the people, of the agrarian, of the tribes who lived hundreds of years with nature. Permaculture stands for permanent agriculture. It is an ethical design system for sustainability and for the culture. The origin of permaculture is somewhere in 70s in Australia. 2 people coined it, Bill Mollison and David Holmgren. And from there is no looking back. There were so many people across the world who started practicing permaculture as a solution for all the world's problems. What we are trying to do, we are trying to do a simple ecosystem modeling. I think everybody might have seen a forest, or we had been to a forest, or at least we might have traveled through a forest. We take forest as an ecosystem. We take forest as a model and we try to replicate that in our farm. That is what permaculture is all about. The reason is very simple. Forest could able to sustain itself for thousands of years. There is rich diversity. There is nobody to get in, apply fertilizer, apply pesticides or irrigate the field. But see what abundance a forest can give to us. So this is what we are trying to do in a permaculture, where we try to design a system ethically to imitate a forest ecosystem. That is a forest, and this is a designed ecospace which looks like a forest. Permaculture starts with 3 ethics: people care, earth care, and return surplus to the other 2 ethics. Earth care is the very foundation for any species to thrive in this world. So we do all the practice, the strategies, the techniques, everything to start working on earth. Then if earth is good, if you take care of the earth, obviously Mother Earth will take care of the people. And the third one is something which majority of us miss in nowadays. We can see fields without any waste or any materials on the field. It was a very clean space. And we are least bothered to return back what we are supposed to give. For example, you get into any field in Pollachi, maybe a typical coconut farm in Pollachi, we can't find weed there. Okay, but we keep it, they keep the field like a lawn, and the residue of the coconuts are getting burnt or sold out, okay, and we are not bothered to give back to the earth, which is a missing link in sustainability. So with these 3 ethics, that any design we do, anybody can do design. Though my primary role is in designing fields, designing sustainable farms, community spaces, though we are qualified to do that, but what I'm saying here, anybody with a common sense can design a space. Only thing, you want to follow these ethics, and there are some principles guiding the ethics. There are 12 principles. I'm not going much detail into it. This is quite available in internet. So with this ethics and the principles, we get into a farm. What we try to do inside a farm? We do very simple thing. We consciously, meaningfully connect every element in the farm. That is a simple task anybody can do. For example, the connection between disciplines. Okay, there are n number of disciplines inside a farm. Okay, in fact, there was an interesting study which says a farmer should be a specialist in almost 63 disciplines. Okay, he is good at that 63 disciplines. It was all interdisciplinary. Farming is not just a farming. It is so much into other disciplines. He should be an engineer sometime. He should be a soil scientist sometime. He should be an agronomist sometime. He should know to see the weather. He should know to identify the species. So we try to connect disciplines. We try to connect elements in the landscape. Then we try to connect land and people. We also try to connect people. What we are trying to do in the discipline? There are few disciplines I couldn't able to map all the 63, but these are some major disciplines inside a farm. You have agriculture, you have architecture, people system, soil science, watershed management, animal husbandry. These are major. Any farm you go, these are some important areas where you need to work on. How do you connect? In a farm, when you go, it's mostly these elements are available in the farm, but it's all quite scattered. And there is no meaningful connection. So we try to do that. We'll try connecting watershed with soil science. See, water is a predominant factor in any farm. In any agriculture, water plays a predominant role. How do you associate water with soil? We are in a tropical region where most of the nutrient are volatile in the soil, which means you give so much of nutrient to the plant, but when a good rain comes, it all leach away. So in a design, if you could able to match these together, okay, how do you irrigate your field? Or what kind of methods you use to irrigate? How do you irrigate naturally? Or how do you fast your irrigation, design your irrigation so that you develop your soil? In our farm, we do have chickens. Chickens is a very good element in any permaculture field. We use that extensively. And we also have a weed problem. Any farm will have a weed problem. So we try using chicken to de-weed. So we do a net and pin method of chicken. So there is we do a closed net into the farm. We send all the chickens inside, and they try to cultivate the land. They aerate the land. They try to weed away all the materials, which is not so useful. Still, it will give us a manure that is good for the soil. It also gives us egg. This is a conscious, thoughtful connection. So this is what we are trying to do. Anybody, if you sit for some time with a few paper and pencil, when you can think creatively how this connection can happen, anybody can start your permaculture field. The second, between the elements in the landscape, this is very interesting. This, I put other dots without any words in it because there are n number of elements. Even when we do some design for the clients, sometimes we reach to 9,300 elements in a field. In a 2-acre property, you can integrate hundreds of elements if you thoughtfully design and connect it together. Chicken and compost, you did. People, coconut tree, or a bamboo and coconut tree. Could you integrate it? Yes, it is possible. Bamboo is the highest source of silica. Okay? The leaf litter which falls down, okay, that has a highest amount of silica. Bamboos are typical wind barriers. So you strategically place the bamboo clumps in your field, you can avoid your wind disturbances. Bamboo is an excellent building material. Bamboo is an excellent fodder for animals. How many of us know that? Bamboo is, again, it's a mulch. If you have excess, it can be mulched. If you connect it with coconut, normally the poles we use for harvesting coconuts are bamboo. So this is what we try to do in connecting the elements between the landscape, and listing the elements is up to your creativity. Whatever you want into the system. I want to have a storage space, or I want to have aromatic garden. I want to have a butterfly garden. Everything is possible. Everything is possible if you integrate it together. And people will ask me, how in Pollachi, how could you able to grow mangosteen, how to be able to grow rambutan, cherries? If you provide an ecosystem, if you understand the biology, if you understand the ergonomy of the plant, okay, you can definitely do it. This is the third one, connecting land and people together. This is something interesting we need to understand. It all starts with soil health, because soil is the foundation. As a practice, we always take care of the soil because that's one fundamental ethics of permaculture, earth care. So we start cultivating the soil. Cultivating this is not tilling, but enriching the soil. How? Not by fertigating anything. We are not using any fertilizers. We are not using any of the pesticides. We try to imitate a forest. That's what we are trying to say. See, soil health is depend upon the microorganism that is in the soil. Bacteria, fungal, protozoa, microanthropods. You do have other small species which you can see, millipedes, centipedes, all that stuff. How this will happen in your farm? You should create an ecosystem for them to thrive in your farm. How? Everybody say the same technique, mulch. Our farms look very dirty. Sometimes people will hesitate, they just walk on the pathway and they never want to step into the field because it's dirty. We have lot of materials, lot of mulch. The leaf litter falls, everything is there, full of red ants. This soil, when you take care of the soil first, okay, soil, how do you take care? You want to give so much of diversity of organism. You make sure that your soil is rich in soil food web. If you have a good soil, if you put any plant on the soil, the plant will grow healthier. There is no doubt. There is no doubt. This healthy plant is less infected by pest. If a plant is infected by pest, which means it is unhealthy, nature has its action plan to allow it to die. What we do, we never bothered about the pest. In fact, we could able to see when we start building our soil, our plants are becoming resilient to the pest. Which means, again, you know, we do test the sugar level of the leaves. Okay, when the Brix is high, none of the insects will come and eat it. Okay, so a healthy soil will lead to a healthier plant. Healthier plant will produce a healthier produce. For us, majorly it's fruits. Okay, we are a coconut farm and we do intercrop it with a number of fruits, exotic fruits. So we do get a good produce of fruits, and we want to take it to the people with a tag, our fruits are rich in nutrient density. We say you are eating a nutrient dense food. How do we say that? Because we have a soil diversity. If there is a n number of microorganisms, diverse microorganisms, the food what a plant is going to take is very diverse. Plants has their own life. We don't know what plants want actually. 100%, we don't know. But if you create an ecosystem for the plant, they know what to take. They have a beautiful connection with microorganism and the plant root nodules. A plant will excrete something called exudate. Okay, suppose if a plant need iron, they need in micro levels. Okay, the plant will signal by sending an exudate to the root. That particular chemical will attract a particular microorganism which brings iron to them. So they are perfectly in harmony. Unless human disturb it, they are okay. They will thrive. Once you have a good plant health, we do have a good animal health. Animals are very integral part of our system. There are people who eat non-vegetarian. That's a part of the system. And if you have these two together, you will have a good people health. So this is the connection we have between land and people. This is interesting. So the last one what we are going to see is between people. How permaculture can bring connection between people This is actually an imaginary scenario, okay? This is quite an imagination. We don't have something called Indian Permaculture Initiative. I'm just proposing this to you. From the people of Pollachi, okay? Anywhere you live, you own a farmland, you are in a house, you are in a town, you are somewhere else, everybody is okay. If you are part of the system, okay, if you are part of this initiative, okay, where people will come together, because these techniques have so much of knowledge in it. There is a background knowledge. So many communities across the world have acquired a shared knowledge, okay. So there is so much to share as a knowledge. If we form this community, okay, we can always do knowledge sharing. What is permaculture? About plants, about soil, about propagation techniques, about climate, anything. Sharing knowledge. We can do joint experiments. Why it is important? There is no one-size-fit-all approach in permaculture. Even when we design farms, we say conditions, probably. Because that ecosystem may react in some other way. So our observation of the landform is our continuous process. Though we associate with them for a year or 5 years or 10 years, there should be a continuous observe and interact between the land. That is one of our principles, in fact. Okay? So we want to try experimenting in our own field, which is possible. Can you grow 100 odd varieties in Pollachi? We are trying. We are experimenting it. And our experiment alone won't work. Because the climate where we are there is different from climate in some other place. In Anamalai it is different. In some other place it's different. In Kanathakadavi it's different. So we should do a joint experiment in all the possible techniques, processes, everything. Building communities. Because education plays a very important role in taking this permaculture or sustainable living forward. There should be curriculum in schools, there should be curriculum in universities, communities should talk about it, clubs should talk about it, Rotary, Lions, they should talk about it. Government should talk about it. Municipality people should talk about it. What you can do, because we have n number of land. Pollachi is a beautiful place, okay? We have so many land which can be effectively designed and effectively implemented for the better being of the entire people. So we should talk, we should sit, discuss and talk about it. So building community is a very important factor. One connection can happen. Resource sharing, very important. See, at Panmayam, what we are trying to do, we want to be a genome bank for all the fruits which we collect across the world. We have fruits from Brazil, Indonesia, Fiji Island, Florida, Australia. We are trying to grow there. But what happens, not every plant could able to sustain our places. Some will thrive, but it will take some more time to adapt to our own scenario. This resource sharing in terms of materials, plants, in terms of some of the seed, anything is possible. So I want to end this presentation with this saying, let us be the most positive element in this world. Leave the people who talk, no, humans came, they try to destroy the world, things are changing, going. Let us talk only about positivity. We want everybody, everyone in this room, you should start getting into earth repair mode. It's possible. Let's be the most positive element in the world. A small action of just growing a plant, growing a vegetable will bring an exponential positive change. You may not know the impact, but we people, when we see both the side of places, we always see the problem, completely degraded land. There is no topsoil at all. There is no possibility of growing anything on that place. We see such a land increasing. And people are seeking our help. But we alone can't do. We need so many people want to get into this system of permaculture or sustainable farm designing. or keep designing, and we want to take it further. There is a chance for everyone to contribute and get into earth repair mode. We are answerable to our children and grandchildren. We don't want to leave the world existing right now for our children or to our grandchildren. So let us think about it and let us do the first step on getting into sustainable farming. Thank you.